Okay, so the weather got a little bit better. It's a little warmer now. My buddy Chris came from San Antonio with his 96 Z32 NA. It was an automatic converted to a manual. It does have the suede interior, and he did go with a twin turbo setup. So this is an NA motor with a twin turbo setup. He's done everything he could to get it to this point, and it looks pretty nice actually. Still has the NA diff. Does have a 5-speed manual in it. He did the exhaust and JDM conversion. And then over here we got some engineering students from Texas A&M working on their 81 S130. This is an 83 2+2 turbo. And so basically, the gentleman here decided to get his buddies to help him with rebuilding and getting this thing running in my parking lot. So this is a 2+2 with a BorgWarner T5. Pretty unique scheme. They did get it running before, but check out this hood though. This is awesome. Japanese Firebird. I got my S10 right here, but this thing's looking pretty good. It does have the aluminum radiator set up. Just a few things I got to fix and get the dash going.
I don't even know why I have these.
All right, I'm gonna go over here to my S130. So Chris here has helped me out. He's gonna place the thermostat real quick, and then we're gonna do the V belts. So, how are we doing over here, Chris?
We're doing good. Just getting past the AC belt now. Alternator's next.
Cool.
Should be off in about 5 minutes.
So what we did is I purchased a aftermarket alternator off eBay. It's a 140 amp alternator versus the 60 Hitachi that's in there right now. It did go bad and I had it rebuilt, and it's currently in there, but I did go with an aftermarket sound system, so I do have a box and an amp in here right now. I just wanted to be safe about getting enough amperage to the amp. Plus, this car, I'm trying to future-proof it. There will be modifications later, but I may need more amperage, so why not? So I must replace the alternator and the belts, and Chris is a lot better at this than I do. And yeah, I do like working on my own vehicles, but I have no shame in admitting where if there's somebody better at it, I don't mind paying them for their time to do this. Plus, Chris is a big fan of the L28s and RBs. What about your, you want to talk about your RB20?
Yeah, so currently I have an S13 Coupe that's receiving a turbo RB20, and I decided to go with the GTX series since it's a more, far more responsive than the technology that was out back in the day when we were getting HKS turbos and such.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much more responsive today's technology can bring that car up to speed. Because that engine didn't have much response to begin with. But the beauty about the GTX is not only will it increase the response, it'll also give it more top end than what your typical GT3071 from the garage would have gotten you, turbo or not.
So that 93 S13 you had, I know because it used to be my car, but it had a black top SR20 DET when I had it.
Correct.
And then Chris went RB on it, and it's been doing great things. We're going to be doing a video on his car in San Antonio probably the next few months once he gets it up and running. I would love to do a video on that old car. Because basically me and Chris did an old swap. He took my S13, I took his 96 red Z32, and then yeah, stuff happened to both cars. Now I don't have a Z32 anymore, but Chris got another Z32 and it looks gorgeous. Is the door open? I'm going to go in the interior and look at it. Cool thing about the 96s is the interior. So late production year, a rule of thumb for most of the old Z cars when they're in their last final production month, they'll have a suede interior. This one is definitely evident of that. It's gorgeous. So this is something they did in the 96, late model 96s. Mine had it, his had it. I had a 96, late model 96. And my 83 280ZX has it. And also the black 83 280ZX has suede interior as well, which is kind of cool. I'll show you the interior on this one.
I have a pair of slides. I don't know how we're going to make this. It's not locked, it just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. I want to show them the interior. That all the 83s, late model 83s have the suede trim. So just like my Burgundy 280ZX
okay.
has this really cool
I have all
trim.
the clamps on.
And you can feel that. This is gorgeous.
Well, mine's the big one. Where's the big one?
So you get this gorgeous suede interior on the late model 83s.
Be a problem in a minute, but we don't have
So,
option,
yeah.
so we're gonna figure it out.
Not a bad looking car. 2 plus 2. Work in progress. All right. Okay, so it got a little dark, so we had to get some external lighting. Ran an extension cord. So right now, Chris is currently taking the alternator out. Basically, we had to pull some things to the side just to get to it. Grab this side here. All right, Chris, so what's the advantage of going from a 60 amp alternator, the Hitachi original one, to this 140 amp that I got off eBay?
So most alternators output around about a 50-60 amps, and that's about how much current the car consumes just to operate the vehicle. Think about your tail lights, AC, fuel injection, spark plugs, and it's things of that nature, so on and so on. So whenever you try to throw a sound system in there, and it's a good size one, we're not talking about a few hundred watts. You're talking about the guys that usually start to tip the scales at over 1,000 watt.
Well, right now, currently I'm running a 1200 watt amp with peaks at 2000, Class D.
So you need to think about it in terms of power consumption. Every 10 watts consumes 1 amp of current, of voltage. Of 12 volts at 1 amp. So if you have 100, you need 10 amps. If you got 1,000, you need 100 extra amps. So even though the alternator that you purchase is 140 amps it's rated at, that's rated at idle. It'll put out a little bit more than that. And you really want that because your car amplifier at full power will be consuming that no problem.
Okay.
But luckily you have a battery to back it up. So even though it sounds like it's running on the ragged edge, it's actually a fair compromise. It's a fair system to operate hand in hand at 1200 watt. But
I plan on keeping that alternator too because it's
so
an original Hitachi as a backup or a spare.
Yeah, so having an extra 80 amps will easily power your sound system without dimming your lights. Your power on if you have a turbo car, having a sound system can also, you will feel the loss of power because you don't have the fuel pushing through your fuel pump at full power. So that starts to become an issue, and we definitely don't want that in a performance vehicle.
Especially at night.
Correct.
And these headlights are going to be swapped out anyway later this year for the Dapper L7s.
So you always want to give yourself the cushion, the tolerances for your systems. So it is definitely a plus to have a bigger modified alternator.
Okay. Okay, so we arrived at O'Reilly's because the alternator, turns out the diameter of these holes is wrong. We have to tap just to get the bolts in. So Chris is getting a tap and die kit, and we're going to actually tap it. That's what he's doing right now. Another thing that happened on the way up here is the Speaking of alternators, Chris's alternator may be going bad. We're going to test that out too at the battery as well. So we literally light started flickering. So we're just going to check everything. If we have to, we'll order an alternator for his car as well. Just realized we're probably gonna get copyright strike for the song. Crap. I'll have to edit it out. Alright, so we came back from O'Reilly's and we're now installing the alternator and the belts, and now we're actually talking about cams for this motor, and Chris was explaining the benefits of the cam for a turbo application.
Okay, so in the case of a factory vehicle, most cams are set to a very streetable setting. They're not aggressive, they're not even mildly aggressive. To get peak performance out of your factory vehicle, it would be beneficial to get a mildly entry-level to mild cam, something that people might recognize as a Tomei 256 entry-level, 264 medium grade. But 264, I've noticed, usually tends to be very top-end feeling, and some people seem to like it. Some people seem to think that 264 is an entry-level cam. So 272, 282s tend to be the very aggressive setting. But cams like that are going to require stiffer valve springs, definitely some headwork, definitely some tuning. The beauty about a 256 is that no tuning is required, and there will definitely be horsepower gains in the mid-range. You'll get excellent response down low and excellent top-end horsepower, but not to the point that the engine only feels like a top-end only car.
Gotcha. So what do you think the horsepower gains are about for that mild cam we're talking? What was the company again?
Tomei, companies like Tomei, Kelford, BC, all make great quality cams, great settings. The key to a good cam is good load timing. Companies like Tomei already have these preset from the factory so that you don't have to sit there and figure out which position, which angle is correct. They've already set it to a good rounded figure. But for, of course, the professional high performance guys are going to want adjustable sprockets or cam gears.
Okay, and basically you were mentioning that we would have to literally lift the motor up because we're going to slide the cam in once we take the valve cover off.
In the case of this engine, that is correct. This cam has rockers that sit on top of the cam, and so you can't. It doesn't, unlike an RB or an SR where the cam can be dropped in from the top end. This particular engine
has to be fed in from the front.
Like a very Chevy-like cam setup where you have to put it in for the front end.
Okay, so this is going to be, now according to that company that we looked at before, the price for a mild cam for this turbo is like almost $600, but the labor part of it, is it worth it if we're going to give you 30 to 40 horses?
Right. It all depends on if you have to do sprocket change to do so. Some people really appreciate what a cam can do at any price point. So it just depends on what you're chasing down. You could have already upgraded your turbo and injectors, and that's the last piece of the buy. Or you don't have any of these parts and you want to start them. It's a great way to start.
So doing a cam is a good idea before I upgrade the turbo and the intercooler.
Before or after, it's just a great.
Because I already did exhaust, I've already done suspension, I've done intake already. I just lacking. Honestly, I think the cam would be a good idea. I have the new turbo, I haven't put it in yet, but I'm actually debating selling the new turbo I have and going with an upgraded turbo that you were talking about before. And what was the one you were talking about for good streetable use, but still gains up to 400 horses?
So the beauty of this engine is that it came from the factory with a T3 flange. And Garrett just released a new series, new G series turbos, which really opens up the possibilities with this engine. The wonderful characteristics of having a turbo that spools up earlier, but still has the benefits of a very large turbo, are definitely within the range of this engine.
So using the Fidanza flywheel, the 9-pound flywheel that I put in here, is going to help with getting rid of some of that turbo lag, but it'll actually seek more benefits with that specific turbo you're talking about.
Lightweight flywheels will definitely assist spooling big turbos up quicker.
Yeah, and I did the clutch upgrade already. I did a center force dual friction stage 3 clutch already. It's already been broken in. So really all I need to do is just go with an intercooler setup, a cam, and a larger turbo, but then there's fuel management as well.
Right.
So I'm already looking at a Mega Sport already through Godzilla Raceworks. So I'm not done with this vehicle by far. I just want to make sure I get all the parts put on and get it running properly before it goes to paint this spring. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut to the next scene, and we'll go to that next. Never mind. I'll just fucking finish it. Nothing. I'll figure it out. I just don't have my camera set up to record what I'm doing, so I'm just going to have to do this on my own. Almost got it tightened down all the way. It's hard to do this one-handed. Never mind. It's on pretty tight. You see the tension's good. So about a ½ inch of play is what we're talking about. 1/4 inch.
You got the 12. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, check that tip. Is it too tight?
No, that's fine. That's good.
Here. Hold this. Aim right over here. Just don't get my base.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, good.
Just turn this one next.
Okay, we're good. And all these are good. 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 All right, and nothing's hitting anywhere else. We'll double check. We got all the hoses are all attached. Fittings are, I want to make sure we're not missing any fittings, are we? What about here? Yeah. Okay. Is that all of them? What about over there?
Mm-hmm. That's all.
Those right there? Oh, those are good? Okay, so we're good. I'm going through, make sure all the hoses are hooked up. Nothing's rubbing on belts. Now, the moment of truth is to start her up. Just got to put the battery back, connect the battery, and make sure nothing's. Yeah. Okay, good. Moment of truth coming up. All right, here we go. Wait. All right, so we're back. We went ahead and finished the V-belt, and we're done. And Chris went ahead and tightened the pulleys, or tightened the belt on his alternator. So it was squeaking, and so now that fixed his battery issue. It wasn't a bad alternator, it was just a loose belt. So both of our belts are done, and now we're going to take his Z for a test drive. No squeaks. speed bumps with a lowered car. Watch out, there's another one. God damn, that fucking sucked so bad.
Completely blind too.
I thought you saw that. Definitely a sleeper. Speedo's not working though. Is that a special mod too?
Yeah. It's best not to know.
Sometimes you just don't want to know how fast you're actually going. The cop's like, you know how fast you're going? Nope. Speedo's broke. Oh, well, I guess I can't give you a ticket then. Nope. So this is safe to videotape then, unless they're going to look at the RPMs.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a 96 Z32 T-top NA, which is a twin turbo swap with an open diff currently.
Limited slip.
It is limited slip?
Factory limited.
Factory limited. So it does have a limited slip diff for the 96?
Yeah, it's probably comfortable to a 0.5.
You're gonna mess with the charger. Oh, he heard you. And he still jumped in front of you. You know he's gonna fuck with you on the highway now, right?
Kind of wanted.
You basically goaded him into that, or okay. We'll roll up the window here. You know I know a lot of chargers in this town. This might be somebody I know. Alright, so sound a lot better though. No squeaking. No more squeaking.
Alright, so what's the best way to turn around?
You can get off of the next exit. You can get off of this one if you want. So wait, this does have a limited slip though.
Yeah.
Where'd you? It shouldn't have.
Factory.
Factory? I thought the NAs were open diff. I thought only the turbos were.
No, even the days. They're not great. They're not as good as the TTs.
Yeah.
The TTs are, I think, like 1.5 way from the factory. The turbos actually really do have great factory differentials.
I mean, they're awesome. I know. I got two of them in storage, or I had one in storage. I still got one left. Yeah, get over here. Then we gotta go
Are
underneath
twin
the
turbo differentials still considered
Well, like the Holy Grail.
R200s?
They're short R200s. So So what I have in my S130 is a long R200, and then the Z32 had a short R200. Viscous limited slip.
Alright, you still recording?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
So
You're gonna take a left underneath underpass right here.
yeah, a little bit of fuel and tow action.
Oh, how much gas you gonna lift?
Half tank.
Half tank? Yeah. There's a Chevron right here.
That's one.
All right, slow down, dude. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Yeah, I think that's going really well. Coilovers and wait, did you replace sway bars on this? Here along for the ride. I'm kind of like a captive audience.
I would say that this is functioning.
What's it?
I would say that this is working. That's good.
Yeah, you're good. And the battery's charged. Everything's holding up perfectly, right?
Yeah.
That's weird because when they did the diagnostic, they were saying, hey, they said this alternator's bad, but it looks like it was just a belt, really. All right, Chris, we're at your favorite gas station. We just went for a ride, didn't break any speed laws because we don't know how fast we were going with the speedometer. But I love this exhaust. I know what kind of exhaust is this?
This is a stainless steel BMB.
BMB. And you already did the JDM conversion.
From
So,
CZP.
and these are the JDM taillights
Yes.
off the 97, 98 Z32. But this is an NA slick top with a twin turbo. A conversion. And these, what kind of rims?
18 XXR 18 9.75, 24 offset, and 8.75 in the front, 24 offset.
And these would look good on my S14, wouldn't they?
Yes, it would.
Oh yeah, they would fit perfect on my Sylvia.
Take a look at the ARC intercoolers in the front, and the oil cooler.
And this is the JDM front end.
Yes, stadium front end. You can see that these really help out making a lot of extra horsepower without turning up the boost. And the oil cooler really does a great job of keeping the oil cool. You can go out for a hot lap, run it as hard as you want, do an oil change, and the oil temperature wouldn't be not much warmer than just lightly warmed up.
This looks nice. I really like the way the stance.
Take a look on the inside.
Yeah.
You'll find a steering wheel and a bucket seat.
It's a nice car. And I love the fact that 96 in the suede interior. I mean, there's a little TLC, but still the car's great as is.
Took a close look at the two-piece brake rotor, which
Yep.
is really light, and seriously helps out with braking power.
All we need is a little slight lip spoiler, a little spoiler in the rear, diff, twin turbo rear diff, maybe a diffuser. You thought about a diffuser?
That one that you got for yours is
Yeah, the one I had on my Z32 was pretty slick. I love that thing. But yeah, overall this has been a pretty good shoot. I'm happy. This thing's fast. So we just topped it off, and I know people are going to ask about that shifter. Tell me about the shifter here.
Okay, so for starters, the Z32 doesn't have an adjustable steering wheel, but if you take your dash apart underneath, you'll find that there's two bolts and they're long enough to accept a bit of a washer. First of all, I was able to lower my steering wheel about an inch, which really brought things closer to me. Just something that personalize the settings of the car. And the other thing here is that the original placement of the shifter would have been somewhere to this place. So you can kind of see that there's quite a bit of a difference from where it would be to where I have it. And the reason why that is because I noticed that I have a really hard time making clean shifts. I would grind third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear horribly. And with this new placement, you can see my arm's extension would have been in fifth gear somewhere out to here. But with this much adjustment, my arm now has a nice amount of articulation and control over the shifter.
Okay.
And moreover, the linkage gives me a better leverage to ensure I can avoid those grinding gears and make sure I have clean shifting patterns.
Okay. All right.
So this was a bit of work. There's two plates of metal here. This was a steel drive shaft from just spare parts lying around. You can make these at home. And I made this using a really inexpensive eBay shifter. A couple of plates of metal, welded it, made it look a little nicer. I could, obviously, if you're good with metal work, you can make this look much nicer, but I'm happy with the results that I got. And more importantly, I'm absolutely happy with the location of the shifter. This works great for me.
Cool. I mean, if it's more comfortable to drive and shift where you want it, it's almost like having a short throw shifter in some ways.
This is very fluid, but out here, this felt
crazy.
unnatural.
Yeah. So the only other option would have been like a C's short throw shifter.
Yeah.
But if you were to get a CD009, would you do the same thing?
Well, yes, I would. And this idea originated from me owning an NSX. In the NSX, there was a really wonderful placement for that shifter. And doing this work, I missed that car. I missed the response of that car. And I wanted to bring that back into Nissan. It's a great car. Just a few touches that I would have adjusted, and these two items is exactly what happened there.
Okay. Well, cool. That sums that up. All right. Let's head on back.
All right, guys.
Hand over your man card. It's an ugly, ugly lime green.
It beats yellow.
True.
Unless it's a Ferrari. Only Ferraris look great in yellow.
Yeah, there's a special canary yellow. All right, get in the left lane, but you're going to take a left on Northgate. He's probably heading to Northgate, too.
You actually already took it.
Oh, you did? All right. Well, we're going to take a left right here. This is University, because if you go that way, it goes back to my place. Take a left, it goes towards pretty much the beer section of this college town. They call it Northgate. We're on the corner of Texas and University. So I'm still recording. To the right, and this is where we have some car meets on Saturdays. So you'll have them all lined up through here, and you have some really cool restaurants here too. And this is the engineering sector to your left for the campus. Go straight. But yeah, there's some pretty nice clubs around here. It's small. It's nothing like 6th Street in Austin, but it has its own flair. summertime, dude. Take the T-tops off, roll around in here in the summertime. I literally took my S130. You can go straight.